Okay.
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the French-Hungarian Chamber of Commerce in Hungary, I would like to welcome all of you on our today's webinar. For who doesn't know me, I'm Agnès Ducrot, the Managing Director of the French-Hungarian Chamber of Commerce. I am happy to welcome with us our supporting member, Capgemini, who is the organizer of today's webinar. Webinar which will be dedicated to a very hot topic and very interesting subject. It means digital trends in manufacturing, and especially to the concept of smart factories. I would just like to share with you some technical informations. The event will be recorded. It can be shared with you by the end of the event, as well as the presentation that you will see. Do not hesitate to put your question or ask question in the chat or in the Q&A session. Of course, the two persons who I will present you will be able to answer to you during or by the end of the event. So I will give the virtual floor to Jérôme CADIOU, who is the head of marketing unit for Eastern Europe and Austria, and also to Gábor, who is the head of business development. I, on my side, wish you a very useful webinar. So Jérôme, Gábor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Agnes. Thank you and good morning to all the participants. We're very happy to be here today. It's the first event we do in a long time with the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really happy that we can do this. We wanted to use this occasion to present a bit Capgemini and the new profile we have. As some of you might have heard, we have acquired last year another French-based company that was called Altran, and there was one good reason why we did this, because we considered that intelligent industry is the next big market. It's where we need to be, and to be able to do this next to the IT retail skills that we already had traditionally in Capgemini, we needed to bring engineering R&D skills to be able to cover a larger scale of activities in this intelligent pioneering intelligent industry topic, and that's what we want to speak about today. So a bit give you what we think is happening. I will start with a generic presentation, but of about 20 minutes of who we are, what we do, what we think, and Gábor will get into more details around the Smart Factory concept and what we think should happen on this market, what we already have done, because we have already examples of such projects. And of course, we are happy to take any question that you have. If I go to the next slide, I think the important thing is that we are entered for some time already what we call an industrial renaissance. For some time, you might have heard of Industry 4.0. It's been going on at least on the last 10 years as a buzzword on the market. We actually believe that it's even further than this. Industry 4.0 was one thing, but I think there's an evolution and it's moving further. The access to technology today is completely transforming and writing the rules on how we manufacture things. And it's not only for purely industrial companies or manufacturing companies, it's true in all industries. And I will show you a bit of examples where we use these kind of technologies. The connectivity that we can bring, the agility, the efficiency that we bring now today is simply multiplied on a yearly basis. And we see an evolution that is accelerating. That's why we call it the industrial renaissance. If I look at what is the core to all this, there is one word, and you're probably going to hear a lot of this word today, and it's a simple word. It's data. You might have heard a lot of people speaking about data. Data is the new oil, I heard, or the new gold. If you look at manufacturing processes, I think it's clearly there. I mean, you will not find anybody telling you that it's not there. It is the bloodline of what's happening. If you look today, when we manufacture things, we manufacture a product in an automated way for mass production, and we analyze continuously what we're doing. So we are simply making sure that what we're doing is good, and we're trying to see whether we optimized. The future is really, we're not going to do products anymore. We're going to do platforms, because if you look at products, they are all connected by now. I was just discussing with Gábor just about an advertisement I saw yesterday of barbecues that are connected, telling you to flip the meat, right? So this is what's happening. Those will be autonomous, so they will work by themselves. Think about cars, Tesla cars, even a lot of cars today are autonomous to some extent. Customers want mass customization. You know, all of us want to have a product that fits to their actual needs, not to, you know, have the thing that everybody has. So it's really transforming the way we will produce. And we're not only going to analyze anymore, we're going to learn. So those products are actually self-learning. They are sending information to the manufacturers or to the providers that, hey, something is happening. You might need to do some maintenance. You might need to upgrade something. So I think we're really moving from products to a lot more complex services around products, and that's transforming the business models of the companies that are doing this. Think about simply the example I gave you about barbecue. I mean, Weber was producing products. Now they have services, because if, you know, the system doesn't work, you need to be able to, you have software in this, so you need to be able to maintain this and to have an IT team that can support the customers whenever there's a problem. So that's clearly at the center of what is happening today. Why is it happening now? Because I think it's the question of everyone. It started before the pandemic, and I will come back to the pandemic, as you can see on the slide. But obviously, technologies are maturing. I mean, you're speaking about technologies such as 5G, machine learning, artificial intelligence, that are becoming more and more common. I remember I participated in an event 2 years ago. I think it was Agnes, around AI, organized by the Chamber of Commerce, and also with the German one. And we were discussing about AI as a bit of a science fiction thing. 2 years later, we are using it in every day. You are using it every day. Maybe you don't know about it, but you do. So those things are evolved. We're speaking now about edge computing, cloud computing. We're speaking about blockchain, we're speaking about IoT. So all those things are coming together. Customer expectation, your expectation as customers. I mean, you don't want products that are throwable. You want products that evolve. You want products that are connected. Think about the number of, I see more and more people having, you know, connected watch. The cars are connected. The barbecues are connected by now. So everything, our expectations are, we want products that really bring solutions to our life. The pandemic was obviously a difficult event, and it's still there. I think we should not believe that it's over, but that's another topic. But it has brought one thing. It's that there is an acceleration in all those processes that have started over the last few years. So what would have been taking probably 10 years to do, we'll probably do it in 5, because some of the companies were simply not thinking that this was such an urgent need, and those things are just happening. I can tell you examples of companies we work with that before April last year didn't even have an e-commerce platform, and I'm speaking about retailers. So I mean, how do you accelerate this? I mean, obviously they had to jump on it and create an e-commerce platform within months, but this is the tip of the iceberg. And we'll come back into some more detail. What are the things, and Gábor always speak about that. What were the things we helped? And of course, sustainability becomes high on the agenda on everybody. I think we all know that we need to do something. We need to change. I mean, there was the agreements in Paris to lower, for example, the carbon dioxide emissions. All the companies are focusing on this, and all those tools are also about helping optimizing the energy we're using, optimizing the usage we make of our own planet. I think it's very important on the agenda of most of the companies today. So those are the reason why it is happening today. So if we look now at transformation of those organizations, I think we should not underestimate the transformation that they made already. I think those companies have been transforming themselves for quite some time. I will not go into a lot of details, but if we think 20 years ago, was about transforming the corporate functions of the organization. So most of our customers have ERPs and reporting systems and MIS systems and whatnot that was helping in consolidating the data of the actual corporate functions. Now what we see happening is that this digitalization is now going into the products creations, it's going into the services. Think about how companies interact with you today. Think about the connection of their products. Here you have a car, but you know that now you have smart city things like the lamps in the streets are connected, the lights are connected. So everything is by now evolving. And this is the acceleration you see. And how is this happening? Data. Data is the lifeblood of everything. We need to gather data, and we're gathering data already to tremendous levels compared to even 5 years ago. And how we make value out of this data will be the big challenge, and is the big challenge of all this, because data is one thing. You can store a lot of data, but how do you create value out of it? And this is by creating value with this data that you create intelligent products, intelligent services that really answer to the needs of our customers. So really data is the lifeblood of all this. If I look at how do we do this, I mean, obviously, it's about gathering this data. It's about analyzing it. It's about making it available to people. It's about all this that will bring and foster innovation. And this is not a small challenge, believe me. When you have a very complex ecosystems of machines and sites and whatnot, then the consolidation of all this, the creation of value, the analysis, and the actually value creation that you do out of it is very complex. And this is where we can help. What we believe and what we see a bit underpinning what I've been saying is that today digital technology is everywhere. So if I'm a bit honest with the audience, I think that if one sector has not been really impacted negatively by this whole crisis is simply digital technologies, because it's everywhere. It's inside. Digital inside means that everything is connected by now. You have to think of your car. You have to think of your barbecue, to come back to this example. You have to think of your watch. You have to think of everything you're using is connected by now. Your computer is connected. Your phone is connected. Everything is connected. So all this data is gathered. All this data is managed, and somebody is doing something out of it. And this is really what digital insight is. Digital continuity is the second step, when basically we are not capable of simulating things. We are simulating how a car will react to heat. We are simulating how your watch is working when you're sleeping. So we're simulating a lot of things. Digital twin, Gábor will address this. So the capacity we have today of not only prototyping everything and trying it out like we did for centuries, where we are doing a machine, we were just trying it out and seeing whether it works or not. Now we're simulating everything. And this is the digital continuity that helps us and accelerates the process of creation. And of course, convergence. We have a huge convergence agenda. Convergence meaning, how do you connect the data you have in the financial system, in the engineering systems, in the service systems? How do you make sure that you have full pictures and you can integrate all this? So everything is getting more and more convergent. What it will lead us to? It will lead us to intelligence in general, in all the value chain. Intelligent product and systems. I already mentioned a few examples, but I'm sure you have yourself experienced and seen a lot of those examples, and they're coming every day. New examples, new products that we didn't think were even possible. Intelligent operations. For example, we are helping companies to review their logistic flows, to optimize it, to spend less fuel. We have a flow simulation tool, for example, that helps carriers, airline carriers, to optimize the usage of their planes. So it's really about how do you get the data of all this supply chain and you optimize it. We are today capable of tracking trucks on real time, rerouting them on real time depending on the needs of the factories. So it's really important. And the last one is definitely services and support. I mean, as I said, it's not now that you sell a product, it's shipped to the customer and voila, it's done. No, it's about what happens if it breaks, if the software and the digital technologies you implemented in this system doesn't work. You know, if your car is not able to do what it's supposed to do, drive on the motorway by itself, you're not happy. If your barbecue doesn't tell you to flip the meat, you're not happy. If your watch doesn't tell you that you should walk 6,000 steps a day, you're not happy. This is all what's happening today, and this is the demand, and it's us, users that are asking for this. I will give you a few examples of where we use basically these technologies, just so that you have a bit of a feeling, and I will at the end show you a bit of. It's across all industry. It's not only about manufacturing. It's not only about producing things. We're speaking about medical device manufacturers, where we're helping them in, and here you have to think about MRI, you're speaking about X-ray systems and so on. Those are very costly, very, 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 very costly. And the maintenance needs on those are quite significant. So now we have helped some of medical device manufacturers that, probably some of them to connect those tools, predict maintenance needs or what needs to be done on the system to make sure that it works further. So this is typically the kind of things we're doing in the R&D space for medical device manufacturer. If we look about the energy sector, we have created a set of tools that are gathering data from all the machines. You've seen some of them there. I mean, imagine you have a boat, you have the drilling, you have everything. So all those data are consolidated and till the refinery of those hydrocarbons. We have helped to increase the machine utilization by 12%. So meaning that the machines are more used because we have a better maintenance network. We have saved millions of euros for those companies, helping them to optimize the industrial tools that they're using. And think about any industry. Any industry could do that, from a retailer to an energy company to a utility company. Actually, utility company is the next example I wanted to mention. We have been helping utility companies to better maintain and more safely maintain their assets, such as nuclear plant. Here you see an example of a nuclear plant. This is a picture of a nuclear plant. We are simply gathering data to help them better maintain those nuclear reactors, providing them with insights that they didn't have today. So this is typically where we use, but we will come back with Gábor on the more smart factory part. If I go to the next slide, is that why Capgemini? I think I already sort of mentioned it, so I will quickly go through it again. But first of all, we have the range of skills. As I said, we acquired a company that was bringing to us what we were missing in this, really the engineering skills, the research and development skills in all the space, from life science to traditional manufacturing. We had the foundation in technology. We are a technology company for 50-something years, I think 54. I think we'll be 54 years old in October. We've been coming from technology, and we are technology. We just enhanced basically what we can address. We have we have a very, how to say, proven approach of business transformation, because when you do this, when you are in the middle of this industrial 4.0 industrial renaissance, whatever you call it, you're changing the way you work. If you're selling a product today, whatever that product is, that is not connected, and tomorrow you do a product that is connected, you get after sales services, you get a lot of things that you didn't have before. So you really need to change and transform your business. We see companies actually selling their data. I'm going to give an example. Leasing companies, car leasings, they sell data because they have a lot of data about how I use my car. So this is very important. And of course, we have an extensive domain in industry knowledge that we've been gathering over the years, and that helps us understanding the end-to-end process of those companies, and therefore providing the right solution to them. We have a set of offers. We picked a few. Those are the three. I think those are also showing a bit of the main drivers of our industry. 5G and edge. I think it's clear. You've seen it. You heard it. 5G connectivity is bringing more and more capacities in gathering this data. We have a 5G laboratory actually in Paris that can be visited for companies that might be interested. Data-driven R&D for life science. It's written here. Bring better drugs. We've been working with some very well-known, nowadays they're very well-known. We speak a lot about it because of vaccination, but if even for other drugs, we work with them. We help them with digital twins, for example, to create molecules that that can solve, diseases or help to heal diseases. It's quite amazing when you see how we do this. We have also driving automation system validation, testing the fact that your car can drive by itself. Obviously, we want that to be tested. So we have actually laboratories even in a region where we test those things. So it is a set of offerings that is a lot larger than what you see here. We just wanted to show you that we already came up with a set of offerings that can help in different cases. But if anyone has questions about different industry, we're happy to look in what kind of offerings we can bring. So what will happen when everything that you see here, what I said before, will arrive on the market? First, we will have differentiated products. Everyone will have an hyper-personalized product. So the product will not be the same that Gábor is sitting next to me, or the ones that are sitting across here virtually. It will be your product. The second is that we will innovate in business and revenue models. You see it happening already. When you buy something by now, you often don't only buy a purchase. You have to have some kind of a subscription behind. You don't have to pay, for buying. You need it for usage. So you pay for usage. We see more and more of the business model coming to the market. When you're not buying a car, you're just buying a mobility service, right? So you need to go from A to B. Do you need a car for this, or do you need a trolley, or do you need a scooter, or whatever? Of course, sustainability is here. I think the overall aim is to become a more sustainable world. We know that probably, I think already we spent all the resources of the year of the planet already in June. We need to do something about it. So I think becoming sustainable and reducing the energy demand that we have is clearly there. It will bring, of course, greater agility and efficiency. I think this is clear. Zero distance, we've seen it in the last year. So basically, everything is connected. We speak currently in zero distance, right? So I don't know where you guys are sitting, but we are probably not in the same country sometime, not even in the same continent. We can do this by now. It's really the way we live by now. And of course, it's about autonomy. Autonomy of things will become more and more the topic. We are becoming more and more lazy about this. So my time is up, sorry, but I will use a few more minutes to finalize. So autonomy is becoming more and more the key to everything we demand. If I go to the last few slides, why intelligence in what we do is important. It is about competition. It is about being competitive on this market. If you sell things that will not be intelligent over time, and of course it's not happening tomorrow, it's not happening the day after tomorrow, it's going to take years, but it's going to become important that your products are the competitive edge. That is why we do all this. It is going to be important that your product are sustainable. It is going to be important that your product are agile, that they are learning them by themselves, providing you insights of what are the things you should change. So I think intelligence will become the competitive edge for everyone. It is all powered by data. Data is going to be the source of all this to a very large extent. So to finish, it's what we believe is that the future of industry is intelligence. It's here and it's now. And as you can see here in the list of industries we put there is everywhere. I mentioned examples in energy. I mentioned examples in automotive. I mentioned examples in logistics. You have the picture of a drone. We know that some companies are actually, thinking about the last mile deliveries, how we could do that with drones. Speak about minings. We have by now, in very large open air mines, we have self-driven trucks, those huge trucks, that you've probably seen pictures of that are 20, 30 meters high. They are self-driven by that. There are no drivers anymore. Oil and gas, I mentioned. Pharmaceutical, I mentioned, with the creation of drugs. Financials, think about, I want to have an insurance right now because I'm going to do something. Everything is changing. I want to have a micro loan right now. Do it on my phone by now, even in Hungary today. Airspace, education. I mean, think about the revolution that the education went through over the last 12 months. It was painful, but it's just the beginning. Health, connected health. I mean, all of us are using all those, different systems that we have on our phone telling us that we should move better, we should move more. Transportation, media. Think about the way we consume media today and then the way we consumed it 20 years ago. Utilities, telecoms, it's everywhere, retail, everywhere. So we can bring solution to all those problems and help you be more competitive. That was it for me. I will give the word to Gábor. If there is any question, I'm happy to answer them. If not, then we can move to Gábor's presentation about a more focused on larger focus on smart factory. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Jérôme. Let me share my screen. Is it visible? Can you please confirm? Thank you. So, beyond labor productivity and asset optimization, we feel that the next performance leap in factories will be through the end-to-end effectiveness of production systems. Good morning, my name is Gábor CZUCZOR, and today I'm going to share the latest results of Capgemini Research Institute's report series on intelligent industry and digital trends, of course with real-life experiences, what we gathered recently in the manufacturing sector in Hungary. In this session, my focus will be on efficiency as the main ambition for smart factories or smart factory initiatives. And it's three main pillars that organizations need to build into their everyday operations. These are efficiency by design, effectiveness in operations, and deployment at scale. With these issues shaping the future of manufacturing, the next challenge for organizations lies in scaling their smart factory initiatives. Before diving into the details, let me start with a short overview on how the market is reacting to the trends and life changes caused by the pandemic. We can simply state that organizations are showing an increasing appetite and aptitude for smart factories. Compared to 2 years ago, more organizations are progressing with their smart factory initiatives today, and 1/3 of factories have already been transformed into smart facilities. Based on the research we had, we see that organizations plan to make 40% more smart factories in the next 5 years and increase their annual investments by almost 2 times compared to the last 3 years. We see that organizations are clearly focusing on efficiency by design and achieving operational excellence through closed loop operations. I will come back later on this topic, what actually closed loop operations could mean. The potential value from smart factories is bigger than ever, and it is no question that smart factories are a critical part of the intelligent industry. Therefore, realizing the complete potential of smart factories will be the key to reaping the benefits of intelligent industry. But what is a small factory? Smart factories leverage digital technologies to gain significant improvements in productivity, quality, flexibility, and service. 3 key digital technologies enable smart factories: connectivity, as Jérôme mentioned many times in his presentation, intelligent automation, and of course, cloud scale data management. This digital technology will also enable IT-OT convergence to support end-to-end digital continuity from design to operations. The main characteristic of a smart factory is closed-loop data-driven optimization of these end-to-end operations, while advanced analytics are first used for decision support, SEC or SSO at many organizations, but the ultimate goal is to reach self-optimizing operations, which could sound now like the far future, but believe me, it is here with us, where the factory is constantly adapting to demand, variations in supply, and also in process deviations. We can see good examples in Hungary. And let me share some of these with you. One of our tier 1 automotive supplier partner has successfully adapted plant control tower and real-time operations management, while another customer of us, who is a global electronics manufacturer, rapidly deployed our VR-based, Capgemini's VR-based solution to bridge factory trusting and travel difficulties caused by the pandemic. I will come back later on for these examples, because we see real value on how our customers could speed up their processes to reach their smart factory goals. As I mentioned before, organizations realize the huge potential offered by smart factories and are already on the path of transformation. Now, let's take a closer look on how they perform with their initiatives. Capgemini Research Institute's report clearly shows strong results on this, as nearly 70% of manufacturers are pursuing smart factory initiatives. The number of organizations with ongoing smart factory initiatives has increased significantly since our last report on this subject, which was in 2017. In that report, we found that only 43% of organizations had ongoing smart factory projects. In 2020, this climbed up to almost 70%. As this figure shows, a more detailed comparison with the 2017 data reveals that most of the organizations that were planning smart factory initiatives 4 years ago have now launched them. The take-up is clearly fueled by manufacturers' excitement about the potential of these initiatives, and also, of course, the circumstances what we saw because of the pandemic. Organizations have already made 1/3 of their factories smart and plan to transform 40% more over the next 5 years. I think this is one of the strongest statements of our research, saying that not only have more organizations kicked off a smart factory initiative, they also have ambitious plans for their overall factory footprint. As this figure shows in this slide, the power, the energy, and utility sector has made slightly better than the others so far. While discrete manufacturing lags behind its peers in adoption to date, its score shows that it has aggressive plans to catch up. On average, organizations aim to upgrade around 40% more factories in the next 5 years. Our research shows that a number of subsectors also have ambitious plans, not listed actually in the screen, but let me share this data also with you. So these subsectors make a strong contribution to this rapid expansion as well, including the automotive sector, the aerospace sector, medical devices, and semiconductor industry. We all know that the factory is increasingly a very complex and living system that must be first efficient by design. Therefore, before organizations create physical operations, they have to commission, design, and simulate a factory using virtual technologies. Toyota was the first who took a significant step in this direction for its greenfield project. Their design engineering and production engineering division simulate the component design and assembly process in the virtual space before the actual production for a model starts. This planning concept is now widely known as digital twin, as Jérôme also mentioned in his presentation. And one of the world's largest aerospace manufacturer designs the same way its Hungarian factory in Gyula right now, as we speak during this presentation. To realize smart factory gains, organizations are depending on a large set of technologies, which means this figure also shows that the relative position of those technologies in terms of their perceived potential and current deployment. So the following are the key insights from the figure. Manufacturing executing systems as well as PLM in discrete manufacturing are the top technologies being scaled. Industrial IoT, analytics and AI have fared better both in terms of deployment and benefits, along with robotics. While, as we see in this figure, remote monitoring is also starting to be deployed, but the scaling up of mobile and augmented worker solutions has not picked up yet. Although all the executives we were asking within this research believe that both technologies have the potential for a high return on investment. Let's continue with the transformation steps and the challenges, and also the barriers that are in front of all or almost all organizations. The professional literature says that there are 4 steps on the roadmap to be taken for enabling smart operations. Repeatability means that the factory is able to perform repeatable and continuous tasks using automation, but these are done in isolation with little data connectivity. Transparency refers to better connectivity, which allows for greater visibility of asset performance, but actionable insights to improve overall effectiveness are lacking. Optimization is the key for the data-driven innovation deployed at scale using advanced analytics and AI, which improves product quality, business agility, and can flag innovation opportunities. And finally, the last stage is, of course, autonomy, when a factory can improve on its own by self-optimizing, making it more autonomous and allowing also the employees to focus on higher value-adding tasks. This is where the value of pilots come into play. Every transformation steps needs to be tested. It's clear. They have to show and prove its value, and although most of their outcomes is beneficial, organizations are stuck in the pilot purgatory. And this phrase, this is far the best phrase I heard describing the situation, where good and high potential ideas burn out in the middle of nowhere. And I will come back later on this because the importance of pilot project is crucial. But what are those obstacles that most organizations face with? The promising answer is that organizations recognize the difficulties they are having in reaching scale. So our research clearly shows that organizations realize that they have a massive task ahead in scaling their smart factory initiatives. Of all the organizations that have smart factory initiatives, nearly 60% say that their initiatives are either struggling or that it's too early to comment. Only 19% said that they would describe their smart factory deployments so far as a success. Achieving scale of operations is a significant contributor to this pessimistic view of success. As we understood from the results of the research, so far no technology or platform has been completely adopted in majority of production lines. Typical and of course somehow acceptable answers are that organizations think that the progress has been slower than they hoped for, or it has been more difficult. They just haven't been progressing as well as they would have liked. So what are the 3 major challenges? What we see here, organizations are blocked by. First of all, deployment and integration of digital platforms and technologies. The second one is data readiness and even very close to this cybersecurity. And the third one is development of hybrid and soft skills. Let me bring back one of the key figures I just talked about, and don't be surprised by this aggregated result, what we see here. The main reason why success awaits is that organizations are not prepared for scale deployments and integrating smart factory initiatives with their legacy systems. We think the best way to resolve is learning from organizations that have mastered their smart factory transformation. But what do these organizations do differently? Smart factories have the potential to deliver huge benefits, as we stated many times in this presentation. However, our research has shown that only a minority of high-performing organizations are equipped to seize those benefits. To arrive at that conclusion, we assessed all organizations that have an ongoing smart factory initiative. And based on this analysis, we find that only a minority of companies, only around 10%, are in a position to realize the significant benefits of smart factories. We call this small high-performing group the front runners. Okay, but what do front runners do differently? They are effective by design, which means they virtually design, simulate, and commission their factory operations before entering into physical to make processes more efficient throughout their life cycle. And I'm also referring here to the digital twin concept. They build effectiveness in operation. They leverage data and advanced analytics to reach the closed loop and ultimately self-optimizing operations. And the third, I would say the most important point here is that deploying at scale, meaning that they are initiating pilots and prepare for systematic deployment to realize the full value of smart factories. We rated organizations based on 6 capability areas from our research data that are grouped into 3 objectives. Objective 1 is the classical IT-OT convergence, which has 2 parts: deployment and integration of digital platforms and technologies, and data readiness and cybersecurity. Objective 2 was how they deploy virtual and loopback practices. These are efficiency by design, as I already mentioned, but just to summarize it again. Efficiency by design means the extent of optimization of production processes before physical production has even begun, so using simulation and virtualization tools like digital twin. And operational excellence. Objective 3 is transformation mastery, where vision and leadership means a consistent smart factory vision backed by a concrete plan to implement and execute. And also hybrid soft and digital capabilities. Based on this framework and on this figure, we identified 3 different groups. I already mentioned front runners, who are 10% of this sample. This high-performing group outperforms all the other groups on all dimensions of smart factory transformation, as we already seen earlier. But here are the experimenters, 50%. They perform well in some of the 6 dimensions, but lag behind in the others. And we have to mention the largest part of the represented groups here, which is novices. 75% of the sample. They are lacking most of the capabilities in the 6 dimensions. Let me bring here another Hungarian example, because we were on a factory visit at one of another global electrical manufacturer in Hungary. And we saw that they have very great initiatives in terms of how they automate their manufacturing processes. They're using robotized trolleys all around the factory. But on the other hand, they are using paper-based and table-based administration for shift logs, for maintenance tasks. So I would say that we can also call this group novices, because they are somehow interested in the technology. They invest in the technology, but at the end of the day, maybe the focus is not on the right part of their operations. which should be enhanced by smart factory initiatives. We talked a lot about frontrunners, but do you remember my slide about what is a smart factory? Jérôme also mentioned, and I'm emphasizing it here again, that smart factory is all about data. And frontrunners have significant benefits as they develop a culture of data-driven operations. Earlier in this report, what we had, or what we researched, we have seen how closed-loop operations and efficiency by design contribute to operational excellence. However, there is an evidence that organizations are lagging in this area. For example, just 1/3 are using a predictive approach to make decisions about production scheduling. With manufacturers often using a variety of solution providers for manufacturing execution systems or PLM, data becomes the most important thing, and it is confined to silos. Data silos are a significant problem, as smart factories depend on the right data being available. Our research shows that only a minority of organizations have a complete view of the data flow across their processes and their IT/OT systems. With the number of sensors inside, as well as outside, the factory is increasing. Data volumes are only going to grow, but organizations need to have a clearly defined way to manage this data. We can simply say this is a data explosion, as Jérôme also referred to the situation. So these organizations should be able to store, retrieve, and analyze data at the required granularity. They have to standardize commonly used data across platforms and locations. And of course, coming back to the digital twin principle, create digital mock-ups of various assets. And finally, make data visualization and analytic tools available for their operations. As a conclusion of how organizations pursue becoming more productive and efficient, let me fill my factory shop floor with concrete results caused by implementing smart factory technologies. Frontrunners are not only familiar with these benefits, but they set up metrics and design ways to track the progress of their initiatives. But how should act the followers? With other words, the experimenters and those who are just started investing into the future, the novices. Experimenters need to invest into their foundations before attempting to scale up. Frontrunners realized the full potential of smart factories by ensuring that they have the right foundations in place and then continuing to improve them. In addition to a robust vision and a comprehensive roadmap for the smart factory journey, experimenters should then focus on building efficiency by design in all the areas, right from the product and process design. Strive to achieve operational excellence through the closed loop operations. Ensure that there is a consistent feedback between the design process and operations. And of course, drive the IT and OT convergence. Novices still have the opportunity of learning from the frontrunners and even from the experimenters by addressing foundational capabilities in parallel with the first pilots. And I'm coming back to this point, as I already mentioned before, the word pilots. There are a number of priorities that will be then key. They have to assign an executive who oversees the transformation program. This is crucial. They should be brave enough to invest in IT/OT convergence. And of course, finally, assess the maturity and determine the roadmap for each factory. As a takeaway slide, let me put this one here. And just to summarize that organizations how we see organizations realize the huge potential offered by smart factories and are already on the path of transformation. However, as we saw in the previous sections, scaling these initiatives is proving a fundamental challenge. Drawing on our survey analysis and what it tells about the characteristics of front runners, as well as our experience of advising manufacturers around the world. We have identified these 4 broad areas where organizations need to focus on to be or to drive scaled success. And finally, whenever you need to help or you need help to explore your as-is state and understand your options to transform into the desired to be state, Capgemini is here to support. We have local competence for driving operational process analysis and project governance. Together with the support of Capgemini Group, we have a broad set of technologies and services that are available to not only kick off, but to develop further your smart factory initiative. As a group, we are a leading provider of services for the intelligent industry, as Jérôme already mentioned in his presentation, and we can offer, of course, a complete portfolio of services. But let's start to think in small. The smart factory journey starts or develops with moderate leaps and pilots. And I really think that we have answers for all of you. Thank you very much. This was my presentation, and we are absolutely ready with Jérôme to answer your questions if you have.
There's one question here, Gábor.